It's good. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, recording
Yeah.
has started. So thanks everybody for joining us for another session of the Data and AI Architecture Group. Today we got Dinesh. Dinesh is a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and he's gonna talk to us about the natural language capabilities coming into analytic products like Power BI. I am recording right now. I'm gonna upload to the YouTube archive after our session. Check the other sessions that we got scheduled. I have another session already scheduled for August. I got another one already scheduled for September. We're on an AI wagon here. So next month it'll be retail AI insights. Then I think the month after we're going to look at how to train and customize your own open source LLM. So really interesting stuff. Without further ado, I'll give you the torch, Dinesh. I'm going to go off cam and mute as well, but I'll be moderating as well. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to put it on the chat. Thank you, Dinesh, again for your time, and take it away.
Thank you, Warner, and thanks for the audience who have took your time to participate in this. So, uh, as Warner told, now let us see little bit of under the cover. Like so, we we are able to see all the fancy stuff that is on top, like uh, generative AI, how it is able to generate things, how it is able to create things, and all those things. But on the other side, the reverse side of creation is something called as descriptive side, right? So when there is some data and we tend to have answers over the data, it need to give descriptive answers. There is nothing called as 70% accuracy or 80% accuracy. It should give proper answers, right? When it is, especially in terms of data. So um, you would have saw this natural language, sorry, AI capabilities have been ventured into multiple products, Canva, Adobe Photoshop, and many products have been there, but not very much tampered into data analytics tools, right? I'm not mentioning about predictive analytics kind of stuff, right? So of course, in predictive analytics, all those things, accuracy can be 70% or 80% or 60%. Still, it is fine. The business can accept. But if it is a structured data and it is going to, if it is going to be exploratory data analysis, the accuracy has to be 100% because that is what the RDBMS world and these BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, all these things have been working for 2-3 decades, right? So now in this session, what I'm going to share a few things is how this generative AI capability is going to transform this BI tools as well, right? So that is why I mentioned as NL2 SQL, which is nothing but natural language to SQL query. Okay. So yeah, uh, this is me. By profession, I work as product manager for a company called Kissflow. And by passion, I'm a Microsoft MVP for the data platform category. So I have been into this community for around 7-8 years, where I be a speaker, organize events, encourage speakers, bring up new people, the first time speakers, and I love to connect people in all other ways. Right? So, and of course, I'm a data and AI passionate as well. Now let us see this how the session is going on, right? So in this session, I'm not going to cover too much of slides. It's going to be 3 or 4 slides. That's it. The more it is going to be showing you different tools, how this data analytics has ventured in new angle. Okay, so of course, data analytics it is all about viewing something in Excel, converting that the number of rows into some form of visual, which can be done in Excel itself, or you will be uploading that Excel file into some tool like Power BI, right? And within that Power BI, you will be creating a report. So something like I can just straight away go ahead and do create a report. So it is all about, yeah, or I can even pick an existing data model. So far it is all about creating a report, right? So we used to click on create report and then select the fields, select the chart type, and then what to say, configure the measure, configure the dimension. This is the procedure which we do remember. If someone asks me, if someone asks us, hey, I want a report. What is the answer? What is the insight? What is the sales happened in the last year? What is the year-on-year sales growth from last year to current year, and all those things. But after this generative AI era, a lot of tools have started to emerge in with respect to which is capable of answering from natural language itself. Maybe some of you would have saw this capabilities or some of these tools, but let me just share you some. Let me just show you some of the tools as well. For example, this is just a one another sales data, right? So which is having a set of menu and other products and the sales item and all those things. And when you come to this chat explore option, it is all about I'm just asking what is the average sale price my by menu type, right? If I just hide this approach, it is nothing but it is giving me the chart directly. It doesn't say anything else, right? So I haven't told like I need a column chart, have the menu type in the dimension, right? Have the what to say average sale price in the measure. I haven't told anything, but it has understood my intent. What am I asking for? What is the data that relates behind? And it is showing me the data, sorry, the answer altogether. And it is also allowing me to show the approach as well. So it is showing me the interpretation as well. So here the data has been grouped by menu type, and the calculation has been done as average sale price for each menu type, and the result is calculated, and then it has been plotted as bar chart, and even it has mentioned that it has created the title something like this, right? Average sale price by menu type. Some of these viewers are already in Power BI, very small things, but they are not generative AI. It is general machine learning to a kind of insight, right? This automatically the name getting generated, all those things. It is there in Power BI, but they were not generative AI. The pure generative AI feature sets in Power BI are going to be Copilot, right? So, and it is also showing me the SQL query which it has generated as well, right? So behind the scenes, what is the SQL query it has generated? I am able to see. Now with this, I can also proceed further questions as well. For example, I can say just top 5, nothing else. It will understand my previous context, previous query, and it will be able to evaluate the possible set of answers as well. And it is giving me the results in the text form. So here are the top 5 menu types by average sale price are as follows, right? So previously it has given me the column chart, but now it is showing me as an answer, how a human would be answering. Like in that way, it is showing me as an answer, right? So I can again ask it to show me as a visual. So what is the thing that is happening behind the screen, right? So it is taking my input from the natural language, and it is doing this NLP, natural language processing, extract the keywords, and based on the data, it is interpreting based on the data. What I mean by data is not just the data, both the rows and also the schema. Schema, I mean the columns of the tables, right? So both from the columns and from the data, it is trying to prepare the SQL query. Okay, so this SQL query. Again, this SQL query will be executed in the database, and the response will be extracted. And for to generate such a kind of visual, any open source libraries like Plotly or eCharts, it is Plotly actually. This Akio is using Plotly. It is passing that JSON response to Plotly library, and it is producing me in this way. Okay, so even to enhance this chart, I can ask in the natural language itself. Show me the data labels in each column. The chart show the data labels in each column. Let us see what it does. So in Power BI, what we'll be doing, we'll be going to the visualizations part, and there will be something called as show data labels, and we will check mark it, right? This is what we have been trained so far. But just think the generation after 5 years, or I don't know whether it is going to be soon or late, but I'm pretty sure that they don't even think in that way. Whenever they have some data and it is going to be they are given some task to extract some insights, the first thing they would have in their mind is, how can I ask question? What question do I need to ask? How can I ask that question better to the tool, right? Which could be of AI tool, and extract the insights, present it in a dashboard, or present it in a PDF file and submit it to the stakeholders. That's it. They will not be thinking like, okay, I have to open Power BI, create report, choose chart type, select dimension, select measure. It is all going to be like an old-fashioned way. I'm not saying that it is not going to die. It will be still there, but the new generation or the next generation, they will focus more towards, or they'll try more towards in this way. And so as we as well, right? So likewise, there are few other what to say, uh, tools as well. For example, in this Snowflake Arctic demo, which you can even also try this huggingface.co, Snowflake Arctic demos, ST demo. With this link, you can also try on your own. Just type anything like top perform top sales performers in the last quarter. Let me say 5 by department, okay, or by category, something like that. I'm just adding my own thoughts. Okay. So it is asking me that I don't have to access to real time data. Yes, I haven't uploaded the data. Probably I can simply ask top sales or something like that. Okay, let me just give it some data, just 5 rows. This is a general superstore data. Now I'm giving it. I think it has got deleted. The context has deleted. So I'm just given this data, and straight away I just asked furniture sales. What is the furniture sales? All it is able to understand that I am asking what is the sales of furniture, right? So within the category, I asked this for what is the furniture sales, and it is part of that in 3 rows. Furniture is present. For example, here 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So in 3 rows, furniture sales has happened, and it is able to give me the result as well. What is the SQL query to run behind? I don't know whether it will answer or not, but just I'm trying it out. Yeah, it is giving me. Even here, I haven't told any context, and I haven't repeated the question. It has already given me the answer, and I'm asking that what is the SQL query you run behind, right? So it is giving me, this is what the SQL query, right? So now let me again play with this thing. Change category to, let us say, what is it? Office supplies. Of course, now if you see, it is giving me the answer and also SQL query as well, right? Because it has understood my context. Okay, first I'll ask question, it will say the answer, and I'm going to ask SQL query as well. So in the second response, it has given me both the answer and also SQL query as well, right? So this one you can simply try with this link itself. I'll share this link in the Teams chat window probably. So after the session or whenever you find, just give a reasonable small amount of data, which is of course which you can do this in ChatGPT or Claude itself, but you will be able to see the difference how OpenAI, Anthropic, and Snowflake Arctic, how the same data has been interpreted differently by these three different models. Okay, so yeah, and one more thing is there are many tools that are coming up very recently, right? So one such tool is this Vana.ai. It is open source. You can also try, check out its site, and this also has what to say. They say something like I just show that. So what Vana.ai is saying is, hey, if you want accurate SQL to get generated, okay. So why I say SQL here is between the natural language question and the chart, SQL query is the one that sits in between, right? So if we make or if we create some engine that can create accurate SQL query from the natural language, then we can use the SQL query to pass it to the database, get that answer, right? So that is what all these libraries are trying to achieve. Okay. So you can also check the blogs that has been written by Vana.ai. It is having good set of information, and it is saying that the accuracy of LLM that can generate SQL query is just with the schema, not just good. It need to be trained with a handful of example queries. If it is done, then with the GPT-4, 74% of accurate results can be expected. And also we need to give some more contextual details to the library, to the LLM. What I mean by contextual detail is it is more of like, this is the business domain. This is the frequent questions that could be asked. If this column means this information, such a kind of user will ask revenue, and such a kind of user will ask sales instead of revenue. We need to train the LLM all these information, right? So purely say for one domain, for one use case, you need to create one LLM. Only then you can get more accurate SQL query, right? It is not that this LLM is a silver bullet and you can just give the data and it is going to generate SQL query perfectly. It is not going to happen. Okay. So you can just check it out in your off time. So, and next tool which I can share you is, I showed you Akio, Snowflake. I'll quickly try show you this as well. Top sales this year. Of course, I haven't trained anything. It is just producing me the SQL query just with the natural language statement. It is interpreting this natural language, converting into SQL query. Exactly say it is just doing a creative job, right? It is not a data analyst or it is not a data specialist. LLM that sits behind this Vana does a creative job where it can create as good SQL query as possible. That's all, right? If we want to make this SQL query to be working, to be accurate, we need to do all those stuffs like training the database, training the model with the context, what each table means, what each column means, and what else I saw. I told with the set of sample SQL queries which has been asked previously, all this information you need to give and train this model. Okay. Now, let me just, okay, I have one more thing to show. So Zoho, I hope some of you have already tried Zoho or no Zoho. But this is nothing but a BI tool. You can imagine like Power BI or Tableau. Zoho Analytics is a BI tool. Zoho Analytics already has something called as this Ask Zia. Okay, so earlier itself, before generative AI also, Zia was there. It was working with machine learning capability. Now it has been purely converted to generative AI's capability. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask something like, yeah. So I have two tables. One is purchase request. Okay, so each one is nothing but one request which has been raised by the user, and each request comprises of more than one line items. Okay, for example, if you could see this purchase request, okay, if you could see this ID 6ZD, there could be more than one line items. So this in the same request, I might request only one computer, or in the same request, I might ask one computer, one calculator, and one mouse, right? So for example, let us see this one. This the purchase request that ends with PWF. You can find that there are more than one, which means three line items are there. Okay. Now I am going to ask Zia a particular question. Here, if you could see that this line item doesn't have any information that which department this line item has added. The department information is present only in this purchase request table. Okay. So I'm going to ask this question. Which department ordered, let us say, this workspace filing cabinet 2. Okay. So it is giving me the right answer. IT department has ordered this particular item, which we can, let us verify that. So department column, okay, department column is present over here. Where is it? Yeah, department column is present over here. And this particular item is over here. And this is the ID, purchase request ID. Let us verify that. That ends with WF. So it is WF. Yeah, the department name is IT, right? We have got the correct answer. Now, let me do one thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel the lookup. I mean, remove the lookup. I have already mentioned that purchase request is related to the catalog line items tables as one-to-many relation with ID and instance ID, right? Now I'm going to remove this. So I have removed this relation, saved it. Now I'm going to ask the same question again. Which department ordered catalog item name workspace filling cabinet 2, right? So it is hallucinating, actually say, right? It is not right answer. Exactly before it is giving me right answer, but now it is giving some wrong answer. The reason is it is able to understand that department is a column that is coming from this table, right? This purchase request table, but it is not able to understand this catalog item name, right? So behind the scene, if you could imagine, what is happening is it has rightly fixed the department column from purchase request table and established the join with between purchase request and purchase catalogs, and identified that catalog item name is from catalog items table, and it is producing me the right result. I'm not able to uh, we will not be able to dive deeper into this particular context because it is not showing SQL query, but somehow it is working with SQL query, which you can pretty much understand. Once I remove the join, it is not showing, right? So once again, let me just create that relationship. Now you will be able to see that is working again. Save and close. Now, again, let me ask the same question. Which department ordered catalog item name, space? Even it is giving me the autocomplete for item name as well, right? Because once I establish the relation, this natural language is continuing or simplifying my work, right? When I was typing this, typing at this time, this catalog item name itself was not coming, right? Because it is not able to recognize related columns for department, whereas now it is coming. Now let us type enter. Let us see. Yeah, I get this right answer, right? Does it make sense? I want to give a stop here and just understand if there is any question. What next I'm going to do is, what are all the challenges that are involved in creating a better or accurate SQL query from natural language?
I don't think we have any questions right now. I don't know if you're gonna cover this later or not, Dinesh. If not, I'll ask you now is, what are some of the techniques or ways that people are handling the hallucination problem, like you just mentioned, right? Because in this case, like you know, sometimes you want LLMs to be creative, but when you're doing something like this, in terms of like the creating a sequel or creating a report, you don't really want them to make stuff up, right? You want them to help you process, but not create columns and functions and views that don't really exist, right?
Yeah. Yes, I will cover that. But how I will be answering is, like, these are all the problems. Make sure that you are aware of those problems and tackle those problems whichever is relevant for your use case. Okay, so again, there is no one single solution, these are all the top 10 solutions which can make this thing accurate, because this space is very wide. So up next, I'm going to brief all the problems that are happening, categorizing in different ways, and you will be applying it for your scenario. Or other way, there are a lot of resources which this particular thing, this particular block will be very simple, where they just say that, hey, how can you increase the accuracy from 3% to 80%? Even if you see here, they don't say that 100%, right? So because 100% accuracy, reaching accuracy to generate a proper SQL query is still a very, not what to say, a very fancy word, right? So of course, certain things can be done to make it to 95% or something. Still, there will be some problems. Okay, so one thing is, okay, first I go ahead with the problems and then come to the solution. Okay, so now let us come back. Like, there is going to be a natural language phrase, something like sales that has happened last year, compare it with this year. Okay, some kind of natural language question. What are all the scenarios it's going to be? It is going to be like, we can get the expected result, which is nothing but 100% properly working SQL query. Or in some other case, it can say that there is no answer, which means maybe it could be of invalid question, something like we are typing some gibberish and asking it. So it would be saying that, hey, you don't have, this is simply a rubbish question. Give me a proper question. Or the other way is, it could be of unauthorized thing, right? So of course, once again, if we just imagine in the Power BI world, every user will not be having access for every tables, right? So there will be some admin or the person who created the data source. He will be having the complete access to the data source and all the reports that has been created on top of that. But rather, if a person who is being shared with one particular report, he will have access only to that report. He will not have access to the data source, right? Why I mentioned this authorization layer is when it is something like this Google search box or this generative AI chatbot or this generative AI search box, you cannot simply imagine that user can type anything. He can get whatever he can type in whatever the questions he want. He can get answers, right? Of course, in my company, I should not be allowed to view other companies, other employees' salary or other employees' appraisal feedback or whatever it may be. But rather, I should be able to see my own feedbacks for the last 4 years, where I worked in this company, right? So this security layer is again very big part, but it is very important, right? So let us assume that security layer has been implemented, and this for a natural language question, it might say that, hey, you are not authorized to access this particular table, right? So the same case it might happen for the as partially authorized as well. For example, I might be asking something like, what are all the travel reimbursement requests of myself, and how can it be compared with let's say Warner's travel reimbursement request, right? So here it is okay that it can show my travel reimbursement request, but it should not show Warner's requests, right? Because that is I'm not authorized to do that. So in this case, the LLM can clearly say that, hey, you can these are all the things which you're authorized to know, but you cannot know Warner's answer. It can say something like that, or it can say that, hey, you're not authorized to access this information. Give me the information clearly, right? So each and every part of this, from a product manager's angle, it is going to be a specification part. From an engineer's angle, from an AI engineer's angle, it is going to be working with that model to tackle these problems, right? So that is where, when this Gen AI is being starting to implement in the production projects, it is not going to be just AI engineer. It is going to be product manager. It is going to be engineer. It is going to be backend person. It is going to be tester, manual tester, or quality assist, whoever it may be. Everybody should be in the alignment so that nothing happens wrong, right? So now the third possibility, which is one is expected result, other one is no result, and the third possibility is not proper result, which is nothing but this hallucination, right? So as Warner told, how can we avoid this hallucination? I'm going to say, or I'm going to categorize these problems into different categories, and the respective person from your side have to crack whichever problem is more important, whichever problem has to be solved immediately or in the first place, or which can be or a few other problems which can be left out, right? So I'm once again repeating, I'm going to state the problems, not solutions. So again here, incorrect results or hallucinated result, fine, but in two cases it can produce. One is it can produce as it can produce a runnable SQL query, but incorrect result. Another thing is the SQL query itself would be wrong. So something like the end user will be seeing no results found, no data found, or something like that, right? So first, let us see for the invalid SQL query, because it is fairly easy, and then we'll go for the runnable SQL query. So when it is invalid SQL query, the column names itself might be hallucinated. Okay, so because LLM, what it will try to do is, based on the question, it will create a new column name itself, right? For example, when I was trying this particular thing, right? So top sales this year, it has produced me this SQL query, but behind the scenes of this particular data set, there is no table name called as sales. And that is why it is saying me that no such table, right? Can you understand? I just asked that top sales this year. It has just produced me a SQL query saying that select star from sales, just making a beautiful glimpse that it has produced me a SQL query. But behind the scene, in the data set, what I have given for Havana, there is no such table called sales, right? So in this case, it should have properly told me that there is no sales, there is no such sales table, or can you rephrase the question, right? That is what the solution should be. But here it has produced me an incorrect SQL query, and the result is going to be either a SQL error or what to say, some kind of exception. So that is where it comes under invalid SQL query, and I mentioned this as hallucination, right? So yeah, sometimes what happens is target databases working syntax might not be there. And this is the reason I showed up this snowflake. Okay. So Vana might have produced me this SQL query, but this SQL query might not be supporting or might not be executing in Snowflake, right? For example, I think SQL Server doesn't know this. In SQL Server database, it should be like top, not limit, right? Some of you can relate with this, right? So it can produce SQL query, but it will not be able to execute in the target database, right? So maybe in the prompt itself, we have to say that, hey, you need to produce a SQL query that should be executing in SQL Server, not in other database. It should be working in the SQL Server. And you might need to produce what are all the SQL Server syntax to the LLM also. You need to train that LLM to produce SQL Server's SQL syntax, right? So these are the two possibilities. And now let us go to the interesting part. It has produced runnable SQL query, but the results are wrong, right? What are all the changes? What are all possibilities there? Or how can we categorize this problem? So the first category is ambiguity, right? So same answer, but it can be exist in multiple places, right? So for example, there might be consider that there is a sales table and there is a view that has been created on top of the sales table. Okay. Within the sales table also, it is having sales executive, sales target, sales achieved, period, and all those information. Within the view also, it might be having sales executive, sales achieved. That's all, right? Now, sales achieved is present in both the table and the view, right? Now, if when a user asks a question, what is the sales achieved by Dinesh Kumar? In which table or whether the LLM should go and fetch the answer from table or whether the LLM should go and fetch the answer from view, right? As a data analyst, I might be expecting it should fetch from table, but what in case LLM fetches from view, right? So how this can be tackled? Maybe we have to design this the interface or the chat interface that, hey, for the same question, your answer is present in two different sources. Which one you want me to take from, right? Something or something like that, we can design. We need to design, right? So this is one way of tackling this problem, right? But I'm just sticking with the problem, okay? So even in this, there might be different cases. One is the view and the table, and another one is the child table and parent table, and another few other things like this. The examples can be listed based on your database design, how you have structured, and all those kind of things. So for the for this ambiguity, another set of things is for the same question, multiple possible answers might be there. Okay, so which can again be an incorrect result or partially correct result. When it is partially correct result, the ambiguity mapping appears to the database value itself. For example, consider this particular statement. What is the sales that has happened in Los Angeles, right? So, and people who are from US, you pretty much know that Los Angeles is a city that is present in both California and also Texas, right? So how could you expect the LLM to understand your mindset, right? whether you are asking only in California or only in Texas, or you want to combine both the states, Los Angeles City sales figure to provide it to you, right? So how this can be tackled? Of course, you can ask this question back to the user itself. Hey, you asked for sales in Los Angeles. You want sales from California or Texas or from both. Based on what the user chooses, you can provide the answer, right? So sometimes this ambiguity language can happen in the natural language query itself, right? So if a user asks like details of all sales, that's all. If a user just types that, how to infer that? What does the user actually expect in terms of details? Whether it is item date, item ID, date and price, or, or whether it is item name, date and price, right? Because item ID might not be readable. So he might be expecting item name, right? Even this item name, date, price, it might be showing for individual individual sales date, right? So if he's asking for something like details of all sales, even the user might be expecting the summation of all the sales that has happened by each item, right? How would you say that which is the right answer for this particular user, right? So this is one thing. And another thing is, if you see this question, best employee handling the support tickets. Let's say the person is the team lead for the support team, right? And at the month end, he want to rate each of his support agent, and he's just asking LLM, hey, uh, can give me the best employee who have handled the support tickets, right? How can LLM can answer this without a pretty much advanced context? Because it is different products have different SLAs, right? So some products have critical ticket has to be answered, or the first time response has to happen within half an hour, or the total response has to happen within 2 days, or let us say some issues that happened that could be fixed for a very longer time, right? It could go for even days or months, right? And also the complexity of domain is there, leads individual rating is there. So many things are there. So no answer can be coined as right or wrong, right? So these are all partially correct answers. And when it comes to ambiguity mapping to database schema, again, there are few things are there. So when the question is just like, where is the most dangerous area in a geographical table, just imagine where is the most dangerous area. Okay, so there might be a column called as location, and there might be column called as LSOA, lower layer super output area, right? So in this case, mostly the end user might be expecting, who might be a subject matter expert, might be expecting LSOA to be picked, right? But since area and location are little bit closely related to each other, the LLM might fetch location, which is not right, right? So one other thing is, imagine that there is singers table, and it is having columns like the name, cause of death, and year. Okay, and this particular year column is not the death year, but this year represents when the singer has released the first album. Okay, that is the information stored. Of course, if it is a data analyst or a BI developer, he knows what column is what, right? But what if we ask LLM after giving this data, how many singers died due to COVID in 2021, right? Since it is clear that it is slightly related to year, the LLM will misinterpret this year column as what to say, the death column, death year of the column, right? Death year column, because the cause of death is there and year is there. It will imagine that, okay, cause of death is there means this is nothing but year when the person has died, right? So again, incorrect result will be produced. So again, there might be very subjective name, especially this problem. Those who are in domain related companies like pharma or supply chain, there the schema naming will be very awkward, which I heard from my friends. So which can be understood only by the data analysts who have been there for quite a long period of time or subject matter expert, right? So how come you can make LLM to understand this, right? So these are all different set of problems, but overall, by providing as good information to LLM, the accuracy can be increased or hallucination can be decreased. For example, here, if we are able to give, hey, script name is nothing but step name. Whenever user asks for script name, you have, sorry, whenever user asks for step name, you have to understand that user is asking for information from script name. Okay, so you have to train LLM, right? So let me just show with a couple of tools which does this. Once again, coming to Zoho Analytics, how they are doing is there is something called as manage synonyms within Zia, where it is asking to enter the synonym for each table. Okay, this is not asking for description. It is particularly asking for synonym. Description, of course, when this table is getting created, description would have been given. Synonym need to be given separately within Zia, right? So not just tables, within for each and every column also, you can give synonyms, right? If you don't give any synonym, it will pre-assume with the available context, and it will give you the best possible answer, but which you cannot assume to be more accurate. Maybe it could be whatever we have saw as an example over here is just a very simple example. But if I ask a complex example, it will definitely fail, right? But whereas if I give the synonyms pretty clearly with the subject matter expert, the accuracy will increase or the hallucination will be lesser. And even then in this column synonym, you can also give two other information, column priority. For example, for some tables, there might be same set of information which should be duplicated. Let me just try to show which I have anything. Yeah. For example, here you could see that total amount is there. Total PR amount is also there, right? Which one LLM would choose? Which column need to be chosen? LLM might not know. So what I can do is I can say that, hey, take this column as highest priority because this total PR amount dot value will have accurate answer. Don't depend on this total amount at all value. I'll just mention it as low. Okay. And also, even this total PR amount at value, I can give an information that, hey, my users, mostly they will ask for sum. They will ask for summarize information, or my users, mostly they'll ask for average information. I can mention this as a default function as well. So maybe if I just ask total PR amount in the last year means, since I have given average as the default function, my result will automatically be fetched with average, right? If my default function is sum, it would be fetched with sum, right? If my question itself have give me the average of PR amount at value, even if I have given sum, it will give me average, right? So this is how Zoho Analytics Zia is being designed to reduce the hallucination or increase the accuracy. Now let us come to the Power BI part. So in Power BI, since I don't have access to Copilot, I haven't got access to Copilot yet. I'm just showing with the what to say, the documentation. I know most of you know that Q&A is a widget present in Power BI, right? So in the Q&A, once you have access to Copilot, you will be able to detail or make it more accurate with the help of adding this information. Means you can add more information to the each particular label. Okay, so where you will be telling that, hey, if this column means you can select you can consider the meaning to be this way, or if this column means you can consider meaning to be this way. What is the relation between book and author? What is the relation between author and publisher? Like which is, you can give as many information as possible. Okay, so one more thing is Copilot, of course, has a feature to create report with the statement itself, which we all will be able to see once it is being available for everyone. But I don't know when it is going to be. As of now, even Copilot has a set of limitations, right? So you cannot edit a visual once a Power BI has generated it. It's going to be one-time generation. That's all, right? So there are a few limitations as well, because Copilot is Power BI is also working on to improve its accuracy, because it is way more challenging. Power BI doesn't even know the domain, right? It is domain generic. All the BI tools are domain generic. So it is very hard to provide this natural language to visual capability in BI tools. Okay, so I'll just have a quick stop before moving to the next thing. Sounds good, Warner?
Yeah, sounds good. I I have to say the one that you just showed where you have to like define all the synonyms and all that stuff. Um, I don't know how well that's gonna go with people, right? If you have to like do so much work to annotate everything and add so much metadata, is it like, it's kind of like when people say like, is the juice worth the squeeze in that scenario, right? Because at that point, it's like, what's the upside to using the LLM if you have to spend hours and hours and hours to like annotate everything? I think the biggest takeaway for me so far is that the more descriptive and well documented and commented your schema can be, then the easier it's going to be to adopt all these tools, right?
Yeah. That's the summary, Warner. Even I thought the same thing, Warner, because but I'm still that's why I told that the next generation people, right? So since we have been into this world of having the convenience or being working with Excel or working with Power BI, the way it is present, all these things, since we are convenient, we tend to see this manual part as easy, this AI part as tough. But whereas the next generation, of course, in half a decade, when this is getting more matured, they'll see that way is going to be easier.
Yeah,
They-
yeah,
they-
yeah. It's like the
so
first shot that they're trying to do
yeah.
something like this, right? Yeah.
We are in an era of uh, driving the motorcycle or driving the car 100 years back. I mean,
Yeah.
100 years back. So we are facing all the troubles.
The initial
From that.
problems, yeah.
Yeah, initial problems are the kind of in product language we can say as MVP. So yeah, now let me come to a different world. So far I was just saying that um, uh, natural language to SQL generation, right? We were talking about the SQL generation alone, and what are all the challenges, what are all, how we can tackle all those things. But there is another world without even SQL is needed. The insights are able to be generated, which is what the ChatGPT or Claude is all doing. So now I have added the same purchase request table and the line items table to the Claude, right? Definitely, Claude is not going to save this data behind a database, which means what I mean by it is not going to save the data in a structured database like MySQL or SQL Server. It is going to save this data in a knowledge graph or a semantic layer or a data lake, something like that. But still, it is able to understand what this table is, and it is able to understand and fetch a few of the insights, right? So I just asked that, hey, understand the data and schema. I'd like you to give me insights as answers, right? And directly asking insights, not even some kind of sample data or something like that. So it is able to understand the domain. That is where it is able to say that purchase request trends, number of purchase request trends that has happened last year. That is what procurement officer will be doing and all those things, right? So when I was asking it as insights, it is able to give me as insights itself. And once it has been there, I just mentioned it as first one. That's all. I didn't even mention this one I want. and it has understood that, okay, I'm asking for this one, and it is summarizing the data, and it is giving me the answer again, right? And it is giving me far more ML capabilities as well. Chronologically, the trend is from the last year to this year. There is a specific gap in between this, and three requests were missing. Maybe so and so and so and so and so. Based on the number of data I give, number of information I give to Claude, it is going to give me more accurate answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see clearly that there is no more this SQL layer at all. There is no more what to say, this RDBMS at all. Then they just imagine what how this BI tools are going to get transformed, how this data analytics world is going to get transformed, right? So this is just a glimpse of what is happening behind the scenes of this one, right? Natural language is there, answer is there. How this answer fetching is happening, right? So for this, there is something called as things are being built to make it more accurate, which is not, but the knowledge is not pretty much available out for everyone. Maybe for the within Power BI, there will be a team who is working on this. Within Tableau, there is a team who is working on this. Maybe, right? Yeah, not maybe, should be. But on the other side, not pretty much. I'm able to see that people are discussing. But what is happening is there will be data source, there will be results. LLM is there, and between these things, there is nothing but a semantic layer is there, right? So semantic layer is nothing but, you can imagine, like, it is it is it is not a data cube, it is not a data mart, but something like an intelligent layer which will be able to connect different tables, connect different artifacts, and if needed, it might even summarize. That is what it is saying as aggregate, or it might classify, or it might describe, whatever it may do. Whatever the BA tools are doing with the visuals, it might intelligently do with the help of a different kind of separation, right? Different kind of data analytics pattern. Once it does, of course, LLMs comes into picture. It will generate the same the answer into a readable format or into a viewable visual, and it will be produced as results, right? So which was not happening before. With just LLM, it will be poor quality data, and that is where we are seeing that, hey, for increasing accuracy, we need all these things to be done. You need you need to train with the schema, you need to give more information, you need to give more context, you need to give more context about the business and all those things. But whereas whereas the, yeah, apart from LLM, if you also have the semantic layer, then the accuracy layer will be pretty good, right? So right now this is kind of black box, but people are trying to crack. I'm also trying to crack. So once we all have a pretty good information, I can even do a second session just with this set of things.
Yeah, no,
So
it's all very interesting stuff, and it's also very interesting how all these different companies are coming up
yeah,
with their own way to solve these problems or trying to bring this functionality, right? So everybody is trying to go at it with different ways. Like you said, Copilot is coming to Power BI. I think it'll be an add-on to Power BI to do the Copilot. You have all these other startups, companies that are coming up with their own, chat with your data kind of products. And yeah, they're trying to solve the problem in different ways as well, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much, Dinesh, for your time. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I will be posting the recording on the YouTube archive as well. So yeah, very good overview of all these different tools and current limitations, Dinesh. Thank you so much. And thanks everybody. Have a good day from your side as well.